What's up, guys? As promised for the month of February, I'm making this video to share my knowledge and preferences with a very beginner tips and tricks guide on Evelynn. Evelynn's rework changed her in a lot of ways. She is now incredibly busty and has a real sweet puss. She is now incredibly bursty and with a much more straightforward playstyle and linear build. I'm going to go over the basics as well as some tips and tricks as quickly as I can, so let's get started. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm just going to briefly touch on her skills. Her passive is Demon Shade. When Eve is out of combat for a few seconds, she enters Demon Shade, which recovers her health based on the AP she has if she's low. After 6, entering Demon Shade is what gives her camouflage. Her Q is Hate Spike, or as Dr. Doom would say,
Hidden missiles!
Eve throws out a skill shot that stops at the first unit it hits. After casting Hate Spike, she can recast the ability 3 more times to send out a line of spikes through the nearest enemy or the enemy Eve is attacking. Her W is Lust Dust. Eve marks a target for 5 seconds. If she hits the target before 2.5 seconds, they are just briefly slowed. After 2.5 seconds, the mark becomes a full heart, and landing any ability or basic attack will charm the target and shred their magic resist for a few seconds. Just note that when the mark fills up, an arrow will indicate to the opponent which direction Eve is. Her E is Whiplash. This is a nuke that applies on-hit effects and gives Eve a small burst of movement speed. If Eve is in Demon Shade, Whiplash will pull Eve closer to the target and deal splash damage. Entering Demon Shade resets the cooldown on Whiplash immediately. Her R is Bullshit. She goes into an iframe and deals damage in a cone in front of her before flashing backwards. Any enemy below 30% health takes twice the amount of damage. Moving on to runes, there's not a lot to discuss here. You always want to take Domination as your main tree with Electrocute as your keystone, since it procs immediately with your combo. Sudden Impact, due to the nature of both Demon Shade and Whiplash, guarantees the magic penetration bonus. Eyeball Collection, because you're going to be clearing a lot of pinks and stacking kills if you play correctly, and Relentless Hunter, because late game movement speed is such an asset to Eve to set up her plays. Your secondary tree, as of patch 8.3, can go to either Sorcery or Inspiration. Sorcery uses the ultimate hat and Celerity, because her ultimate is her escape and assassination tool, while Celerity stacks nicely with all the bonus movement speed you'll be gathering throughout the game. The Inspiration tree currently uses Magical Footwear and Stopwatch. Zonya may not be a core item, but it's never a bad item, and the early game Stopwatch can help set up some really good dives. Magical Footwear hinders her already weak early game, but booms into the mid game with the rest of her kit. So it's a very good choice if you're playing for late game comp or using the Spell Piece build. In the upcoming patches though, both Footwear and Stopwatch will be on the same line, so the Inspiration tree will more or less be obsolete. In the jungle, each smite comes with its own benefit, so you should choose it depending on the enemy team. Green helps you with invaders like Xin and Udyr, red helps for bursting down tanks like Mundo and Maokai, and blue helps for mobile squishies like Israel and Ari. In terms of items, the reworked Eve no longer has that dual scaling on her skills, which means you'll be building her as an AP burst assassin. At core, you'll be taking Runic Echoes every game with Liandry's topped off with her Void Staff much later. With the magic penetration on Sudden Impact and her W on top of Liandry's, Eve hits like a truck at very early levels. The other items to flesh out your build will be a mix or variety of Lichbane, Hextech Protobelt, Zonya's Hourglass, and situationally a Banshee's Veil. For your boots, your main go-to options are Moby Boots and Sock Shoes, as they help her snowball earlier. The early game Spell Thief's Edge into Frostfang can help with late game warding and solves her early mana problem. Though since the nerf on her E, I find it more beneficial to just go straight into your core build to start being more effective for the team as quickly as possible. Now on to those tips and tricks I promised you. Firstly, if you're ever in a position where you aren't getting a leash, you can always start with E for a healthy clear. Just kite the camp and wait for Demon Shade to kick in, which will reset and empower Whiplash for bonus damage. You would usually start with your Q for your first clear, since you would clear the camp a lot quicker. You do take a little more damage, but due to Demon Shade's passive healing, you would likely recover it before you make it to the next buff anyway. A second thing to keep in mind is the benefit of starting with Hunter's Talisman, which allows you to heal over time when you damage a creep. Having said that, it's easy to recover a chunk of health by attacking raptors with Hate Spike while on your way to red. As an extension of this trick, You could loop the raptors to keep coming at you while you do your red with Hate Spike. This means while clearing your buff, your Hate Spike will be proccing multiple times on raptors to give you a larger heal. Like I said before, Eve's early game is now her weakest point. In your early clears, you should as best as possible avoid aggressive junglers by anticipating where they will be for a counter jungle. Capitalize on information you have by stealing their camps where possible, and try as best as possible not to die before reaching level 6. This does not mean that you are incapable of early skirmishes. If you get the jump on your opponent and set up your combo, you can burst them down very quickly. Empowered Whiplash at early levels deals a ridiculous amount of damage, and can net you a lot of advantage if your opponent does not know any better. For your early ganks, it is very important for you to land your Q, as the first hit allows your next 3 hits to deal bonus damage. Here I perform an early gank for my top laner. I sacrifice my Empowered Whiplash to get closer to Olaf, but I miss my Q entirely. Having lost my burst damage, Olaf is able to recover and kill my top laner. Fortunately, it was only Salva, so I didn't feel too bad. This next trick is just a matter of understanding how brutally strong Empowered Whiplash really is. Casting it simultaneously with your opponent's dash or escape will allow you to follow them. The timing is very strict, but it's definitely worth learning as it could counter a lot of defensive play. Finally, the last back pocket trick you should know as Eve is how to use her ult. Though an impressive execution tool, it can be used to close the gaps on opponents by casting it backwards. This can be used to chase down and secure kills or block off escape paths. You can also make use of the iframe to dodge hard CC like Pantheon's Leap Stun, or avoid major burst damage from mages. Due to its bonus damage when her target is below 30% health, Eve's ultimate can also be used in tandem with Smite to perform game-winning steals on Baron and Dragon. Eve's playstyle is all about weaving in and out of fights, making full use of Demon Shade and Empowered Whiplash for heavy unexpected damage. Also keep in mind that you don't necessarily have to be in Demon Shade in order for Whiplash to be empowered. By entering Demon Shade, your next Whiplash, whenever you cast it, will be empowered. Conclusively, I'm just going to talk about your role going into the late game. Ideally, you want to always be aware of the enemy team's movements and position yourself accordingly to exploit holes in their defense or pick off a squishy champion. At the late game, when you have your items, your W is no longer needed to one-shot the enemy squishies, and so you could hold it for re-engaging a fight or retreating once you get a pick off.
Oh, yes. Cry for me, honey. No, don't. Stop.
Sometimes enemy teams will just huddle together or have a lot of CC and peel. Good opponents will protect their carries and ward effectively when they are pushing down a lane. These instances are exactly why Void Staff and Liandry's are core items. You can very effectively engage a teamfight despite being so squishy. Once you survive the engage and escape using your ultimate, Demon Shade passive could quickly heal you in time for you to re-enter the fight and close off his squishies. I structured this guide in such a way to encourage players who never wanted to play her to try her in a few games at least, and I hope that I was successful in that endeavor. Thank you all for taking the time to have a look at my Evelynn guide. As you can see, she is a ton of fun to play. She has easily and quickly become my favorite champion in the game, and her personality shines through her emotes and her lines in the best ways possible.
That said... Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
We're done when I'm done.
No, we're done, bitch. Bye.